This is my 3D printer. It's a Creality CR10 V2. I wanted to show you here a standalone setup that I made for my printer. Getting rid of that metal control box on the side, the printer now leaves a much smaller footprint on your desk. Keep in mind that doing something like this will probably ruin your warranty because you will need to modify your electronics. And as always, when working with electronics, make sure you know what you're doing, because electricity can be very dangerous if it's not done right. I was looking at the frame of the printer and I realized a piece of plexiglass would be perfect to just slide into the slots on the side of the printer's frame, making it super easy to mount all the components on the underside of the printer. So first off, I wanted easy access to the SD card and the micro USB ports. So I made an enclosure for the control board here in the front. It's got a little square groove so it fits perfectly around the edge here. I reused the stock power switch and the stock power socket from the control box. I printed brackets for these two parts so they could be mounted anywhere on the frame. I found that the front would be the best location in my setup for the power switch, and the rear left would be the best place to put the power socket. It is super easy to connect the brackets to the frame. All you need is a few M4 screws, some M4 washers, and some M4 nuts. This part is easiest to do with the printer flipped upside down. You just drop your nut and then your washer into the groove, and then you can start tightening just like this, and it will get super secure once it's tightened down. I custom printed a cover for the power supply with mounting holes for a 92mm fan. In this case I used a Noctua fan because these are super quiet. On the motherboard enclosure there's also a 40mm Noctua fan. Both of these fans run off 12 volts and the standard power supply runs off 24 volts. That's why I needed this other 12 volt supply on the side here. They're pretty cheap. I think this one is actually the same brand as the original one, Meanwell, and that's what I'm using to power my fans. The 12 volt supply is connected to the same power cables as the 24 volt one, so they're both controlled with the same main switch. All the parts come with pre-made holes, so all you need to do is line up the holes on the underside of the glass, drill out the holes, then use a countersinking bit to get them flush. The screw dimensions I used were flathead 16mm by 3.5mm screws. I also made some feet that were a little bit taller than the stock ones, because I needed some extra clearance for good airflow. The LCD screen is mounted on the right side of the frame, just the same way as the power switch and the power socket on the underside is mounted, with a nut and a washer inside the groove. You will need to get some slightly longer cables for this to work, as the stock cables for the LCD screen is just not long enough. For this project to work, you will need to do a bit of custom wiring. I will leave a link in the description with all the required STL files that I've been using. I will also add a wiring diagram of how everything is wired to make this specific setup work. This is a newly started channel where I intend to share some of my upcoming projects. I will be posting more videos from now on whenever I have projects going on. So feel free to subscribe or leave a like if you enjoyed this project, or if you're just curious about the updates coming up. If you've got any suggestions for improvements, please let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Oh, and by the way, the reason for countersinking the holes is because I'm intending to add some piece of black plastic sheet on top of the plexiglass so I don't see all the wires and all the ugliness. It won't be this specific piece, but you get the idea.